Hello everyone, I'm Brad and welcome to Mediocre Models. In this one I'm going to show how I paint my German Afrika core using the contrast paints. I have some finished ones here. I really enjoyed painting these ones. This was one of the first armies I painted using contrast paints. And I really enjoyed it. Liked varying the uniforms, making the uniforms more varied. And yeah, I really liked how they all came out. I've got two models here because I'm going to do sort of two different ways you can do their uniforms, like you saw in the previous ones. You can give them green jackets, green pants, yellow jackets, yellow pants, brown pants, even brown jackets if you want. So yeah, I'm going to demonstrate how I use the two different colors on the two different models. And yeah, so the paints I'll use for the contrast paints will be Skeleton Horde, Militarum Green, Wyldwood, Gore Grunter Fur, Black Templar, Snakebite Leather, and Gilman Flesh. And then I've got leadbelcher for any metallic areas. I got some balthasar gold here for the bullet casings for the MG34. And then I've got nuln oil and agrax earthshade for the shades at the end. All the models are undercoated in corax white. That's what I undercoat my models in always. Yeah, so I'll get set up and we can get started. The first colour I'm going to use will be Skeleton Horde, and with this colour, depending on how you want your uniforms to be, you can either do them all in the one colour or you can mix it all up, or anything you want. Your models, you can paint them your way. But for this particular one, I'm going to do his jacket with the Skeleton Horde, and I might do the pants on this guy with Skeleton Horde. The only other areas that I'll use Skeleton Horde will be for his bread bag and gas mask container. And for any of them which have hats, you could also do it this colour as well. And I'll also put Skeleton Horde on their helmets as well. So just go around and put it on. When putting it on helmets, try and make sure you don't let it pull too much around the rim, around this rim here. Just a nice thin layer on like that. And then basically you just put it all on. The other area I'll also put Skeleton Horde on. If any of them have any hair or anything like that, you can also paint it in like that to make it like blonde hair. But that's about it. Also, if you have any with like the grenades, you can paint in the top of the grenade Skeleton Horde if you want as well. The other colour I would also use would be Militarum Green, and I would generally do that if I wanted to make the grenade stand out from the uniform a bit more, just so you can easily identify it. Don't have to if you don't want to though. So I'll just go around and I'll put all the Skeleton Horde on, and then yeah, we'll come back when they're finished. The next colour I'll move on to will be Militarum Green, and with this colour I will paint the gaiters. If you have any with these rolls on the back, you might want to paint it using that colour as well. And like I said before, if you have any with the stick grenades, you might want to paint the top of it using Militarum Green. For this model I'm only going to do his gaiters, and on this one I will do his jacket and his cap, as well as his gaiters as well. So I'll always do their gaiters using this. If you can, try and, as always, be careful not to get it either onto the pants or the boots. But if you do, it's not a problem. You can always go back, clean it up if you need to. But the next colour I'll be putting on will be quite strong, so if I do manage to spill any, it'll just cover it up nicely. But if you have done any with the skeleton horde on their pants, just try and be careful not to get it onto their pants. If you can, try and make sure you don't put too much on, absorb some of the excess if you can. So I'll just go straight over his jacket, as well as his cap. I'll finish him off and then we'll come back to the next colour. So the next colour I'll be moving on to will be wyldwood, and with this colour I'll put it just onto this guy's pants. And this is once again just to add a bit more variation, instead of making them all look exactly the same. You can have that look that some have been in the field longer than others. You could do this for an entire unit, or do what I do and have it mixed, some with green, some with yellow, some with brown. When putting the wyldwood on, just be careful. Try not to get it onto any of the other parts of the uniform. It's quite a dark colour, so it will easily cover them. And also just make sure you don't get any major pooling on the top areas of the uniform, but it's alright if you get a little bit into the folds. That's all the wyldwood finished. The next colour I'll move on to will be gore grunter fur, and for this it'll just go over on all the weapon straps. Any straps on any of the rifles or SMGs, anything like that. And I'll also put this over their boots. Once again, just trying to be careful not to get onto the gaiters. And that'll be it for that colour. The next colour I'll move on to will be Snakebite leather, and with this I will put it onto their water canteens. as well as their weapons, or the wooden areas on their weapons. That'll be the main body of the rifle, and if you have any with the MG34s, it'll be for the stock, and if you have any with the MP40s, it'll just be for the pistol grip. Try and be careful with this colour, putting it on. Try not to get it anywhere else, but if you do, like I have here, all I have to do is go back with some corax white, put that over, let it dry, then go back with a skeleton horde and fix it up. So it's not a major issue if you do. But as always, the less cleanup you do, the faster you'll paint your models. The next colour I'll move on to will be Black Templar. Now for this step I'm going to put it onto any straps for their helmets. And also I will put it over all the straps for their webbing, as well as any straps they have over some of their equipment. So for his little bag here, I'll just put it over that. For the water canteen, it'll be straight down like that. If you can, try and use a really thin small brush. That'll give you the best control for it. I like to paint all the straps in black, simply because I like it to stand out and it's just iconic colour for them. You don't have to do it this way. You could leave them in skeleton horde, or you could paint them agrax dunes if you want them to still be yellow but just make them stand out a bit more. Or if you wanted brown leather, you could also probably go through with grunter fur, and you could do them that way as well. But for me, I just like to do the black leather. As always, be very careful when going through, especially using the black. Just want to take your time and go slowly. Make sure looks all good. There'll be all these ammo pouches at the front, as well as these straps that go up the side here. And these straps that of course go up the back, and these belt that goes right the way around. Once you're finished with all the black, if you choose to do it this way, the next thing I'll do is I'll go through with corax white, fix up any areas where I've gotten any other colours onto his skin, as well as any areas on his uniform, in case I've spilt over onto other parts with the other colours. Just fix that all up, and then we'll move on to the final couple of steps. Now the Black Templar is dry and I've gone around and fixed up any areas where I've made mistakes. The next colour I'll move on to will be Gilman flesh, and this will be just for all their flesh. I'll just go straight on. With this paint you can let the first layer dry and apply a second layer. and that'll make the skin a bit more darker, and it could give them more of a tanned or sunburnt feel to them, as if they've been out in the desert for quite some time. But for these ones, I'll just put one layer on. This will just go over any exposed flesh, so it will be their hands and their face. But if you have any of the team weapons, they might have their shirts off. So it'll just be over all their skin. And that's it. With the Gilman flesh applied to the model, that will be the last of the contrast paints, at least for these ones. There are other models which have these bandanas that go around their face. If you have any like that, you can paint them any colour you want. I've gone with blue, red and green bandanas, but you can use any colour you want. Also, if you have any with hair sticking out, you can paint the hair in now as well. But for the next colour we'll move on to will be leadbelcher, and this will be for metallic areas on any of the weapons. So for the rifles, it'll be obviously the main part at the front here, as well as all along the breech and the trigger there. And then this will also go over any little clips that are on their webbing, as well as the O-ring at the back here, and the belt buckle, as well as any clips on the front of their webbing. If you have any with the field caps, such as this guy, there's also on the field caps the eagle at the front here, as well as like a small circle there. So I'll continue on and I'll finish these two, and then we'll come back for the next colour. The next colour I'll go into while the leadbelcher is still drying will be Balthasar Gold, and this will simply just be for the bullets for the MG34s. So if you have any where they've got the ammo boxes open, or if you've got the metallic MMG team, then I'll just use this colour for the ammunition. Simple as that. So that's basically all the colours finished. The only thing left to do now is to apply the shades. So I'll let the models dry and then we'll come back for the final steps. Now with the metallics dry, the next thing I'll go on to will be shading them with nuln oil. This will just be a nice thick heavy shade over all the metallic areas, so over all the weapons, if you've done them this way. I know people might prefer the blackened metal look, but I like to do them this way because it just makes them stand out a bit more. I think it looks cool. So it'll just be over all the metal areas on the weapons, any bullets, as well as any metal areas that are on their field caps if they have them, the O-rings at the back, as well as any metal areas that are on any of the equipment. And then it'll be the same for this one, so just any areas, clips on the front of them, any metallic areas on the back, and of course the metal areas on his weapons. And then once the nuln oil is dry, we'll move on to the final shade. Don't forget any belt buckles if you have them. So I'll let that dry and then it'll be onto the final shade. Now the nuln oil is fully dry. The next colour I'll move on to will be agrax earthshade, and with this colour it'll just be an all over wash over the entire model. Try to avoid any major pooling anywhere, and just try and spread it around, get it all over. Main areas you want to avoid are any of the major metallic areas on the weapons, but apart from that you just want to get it basically everywhere else. And this will really darken the model down, darken all those colours down, and give them a really nice weathered, worn look to him, as if he's really been out in battle for quite some time now. And I like to do this on all my models. Just give them that really nice weathered look to them. That's all over him. And then for this one, it'll be exactly the same. You can do their little ammo cases as well, if they have any. Once again, just try to avoid any major pooling. You can put it over the ammunition as well, and that'll give it a slightly brownish tone to it. But once again, try to avoid putting it over the main bulk of the weapon if you've painted them up, how I have. Other than that, it'll just go over the entire model. And yeah, it'll just give them a really nice worn look to them, which is how I like my models. Makes them feel more authentic, at least to me. So we'll let them dry, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at them and compare them to the other ones that are based and finished. And yeah, the agrax earthshade is now basically almost fully dry. It's just a little bit here and there, but hopefully, as you can see, it's really darken the colours down and really give them that worn, weathered feel to them, which I really like. I do all my models this way. I'm not going to do any highlights or anything like that. That's just how I do them. So they're all finished. The only thing left to do would be to do their bases. So that's basically how they look. And then once you do their bases, if you want to give them a nice cracked desert base, yeah, so that's how I do my models. I really enjoyed painting my Afrika Korps. I had a lot of fun doing the uniforms and doing the variety of different colours, spreading it out across the entire army. A couple of things that either I forgot to mention or that weren't on these models but are on other ones throughout the units. If you have any with these goggles, I'll just paint them in the skeleton horde and just leave them that colour. And any of the bands that go around, I'll paint them using grunter fur. And also for the stick grenades, for the actual handles on the grenades, I'll paint that in snakebite leather as well. But apart from that, everything's basically exactly the same. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope you liked it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.